Welcome to A Therapist, a Buddhist, and You, a collective solution to all things health and wellness, brought to you by the Recovery Collective in Annapolis, Maryland. This is a special episode that marks a commencement of our impactful four-part series dedicated to the heart and essence of National Recovery Month. Imagine a month where we collectively shine a light on stories of transformation, strength, and resilience. A time when we honor the journeys of those battling against the currents of addiction and mental health challenges emerging victorious. I'm Luke DuBois, and here with co-host Zal Mal.
Hey, Luke.
Hey, Zal.
What's
We'll
happening?
get to our guests here in a minute.
Okay.
And for people listening on podcast platform, there is a video today, so feel free to jump on YouTube. National Recovery Month was born in 1989. Isn't just a time on the calendar, it's a powerful movement, and it's an embodiment of hope, strength, and change. Every September, this observance unites us in promoting evidence-based treatment, celebrating the immense power of recovery communities, and saluting the tireless dedication of service providers who paved the way for life to be rebuilt. In fact, I don't know if you knew this, but over 20 million Americans aged 12 and older struggled with substance use disorder in 2020 alone. 20 million. Amidst this stark reality, the significance of Recovery Month, guided by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, we'll call it SAMHSA from here on, becomes even more poignant. Through the years, SAMHSA has chosen September as a platform to unveil initiatives and funding that elevate mental health and addiction recovery, while partnering with both private and public entities to champion those individuals who, day by day, forge paths to long-term recovery. It's about acknowledging the victories, the setbacks, and the indomitable spirit that makes the journey to reclaiming life. And today, in the spirit of this remarkable observance, we are honored, Zal and I are honored to welcome the co-founders of the Recovery Awareness Foundation, Newton Gentry and Sam Alston, two individuals whose commitment to this cause is a testament to the power of collective healing. Through their tireless efforts, they're bridging gaps, dismantling stigma, and fostering a culture of support. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for kicking us off for our first part
Let's be here, man.
of the Recovery Awareness Month. And,
Yeah, welcome. This is fun.
I mean, it's literally in the name, so how could we not have you guys here first? Recovery Awareness Foundation.
For sure.
So thanks for joining us. So if you don't mind, share us the journey that led to your guys' creation of the Recovery Awareness Foundation. Kick us off.
Okay. So I guess the whole premise behind it, what sort of initiated it, was my personal experience trying to get clean. So basically when I was trying to get clean, I was caught up, and I'm like, okay, I'd come to treatment before, I'd relapsed, and I already knew I needed to figure out a way to get back. I knew where I needed to be, right?
In the cycle of suck.
Right. So then I'm locked and loaded. So I'm just I'm in a hotel. I'm up in Baltimore. I'm like, oh my God, I need to figure something out. So literally, probably at the very beginning of the relapse, I just start calling treatment centers. I'm calling ones in Florida, everywhere, all up and down the East Coast, calling treatment centers. And all of them are just like, we need $5,000. We need $3,000. Mm-hmm. We need this, we need that. I'm like, dude, if I had that kind of money right now, you really think I'd be calling you? Let's be honest, right? So eventually, I ended up finding a spot after I put myself through a little more pain, right? And end up at a treatment facility that took state insurance. And when I got out and got my feet under me and started just getting back into the groove of things, I literally was just like, it'd be pretty cool to start just a foundation that just had a big pot of money to help people whenever they wanted to get help, right? Mm-hmm. And basically basing it off my personal experience, I was like, okay, if someone calls a treatment center, that might be their amount of willingness that they're able to present at that moment, right?
Sure, man. We're
in it. So they present
Yeah.
that, and someone calls them yeah, we're going to need $5,000. Next thing you know, they might just be like, oh, well, fuck it. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The big plan would be just to literally be a resource, nationwide, that if someone comes and calls and they don't have the financial ability, we're someone you can call that can help them. So that willingness can turn into an opportunity, right? And that's where our mission statement comes from, just giving anyone the opportunity to change their life and just giving you a chance. Because without a chance, there's the other result, right? Yeah. So that's sort of the premise of why we started it.
There's a need, and then you provided a resource.
Yeah.
Commendable, powerful. So
crazier thing was that when we were trying to pick a name, I'm just on Google, like just typing in names. And I swear to God, like this is probably like the 8th name I got to. The 8th name we got to, Recovery Awareness Foundation. It's sort of kind of interesting that R.A.F. and then resentment, anger, and fear. So it all sort of just ends up. But like it just ended up there. Like it wasn't like a plan to get there. It just all just sort of worked out.
Your resentment and anger and fear sparked something that you guys help at least hundreds, right? I mean, it's awesome. Mm-hmm. So you sparked the brainchild. Where'd you come into play, Sam?
I was just sitting around.
Sitting around in sobriety.
I'm just kidding. He called me and told me that he had an idea. And, we talked a couple of times about it, and it sounded like a genius idea. I had a lot of experience in a recovery community in this area. So when he told me, I was all on board. Mm-hmm. We scratched some money together and got a 501c3 and started moving.
So you guys turned into a nonprofit. Mm-hmm. Take us from there. What happens next? You guys, we really want to do this. You guys at this point have X amount of time of sobriety, giving back your own way. How did it become to what it is today?
Basically, starting a 501c3 is not
tell the people about
it's not as...
There's a lot of passionate listeners out there, right?
Okay,
we're about a collective solution to health and wellness. And
there's a way, it's not a gray area, but you can start a for-profit and turn it into a nonprofit.
Sure.
Right? And just go through whatever realms you'd have to go to do it that way. But so if you go just organic nonprofit from the beginning, it can be a little costly, but I don't feel like it was that difficult. Like once we just did the things that they required, it took a little bit longer. It did cost a little bit more. And at that point, the whole goal was just like, if we get there and then we move on to the next thing, like now we can figure out, like we're both able to be productive members of society, so we both have jobs, so we both had income. It was something that we were able to facilitate getting it done. After that all started, then we began the plan of, okay, so now we have the idea of what we want to do. Now we need to figure out how to get the money, right? How are we going to raise some money, right? So I participated in a few different local recovery organizations, did some networking there, met some people, ended up partnering with a couple different treatment facilities, and we're able to get some reputable treatment facilities to support us. So then we were able to put them on our website as resources that we had that worked with us.
Potential referral options.
Correct. Mm-hmm. So we had that. And then we started, our first fundraiser thing was wristbands. And then it went to T-shirts.
Sweatshirts.
And then it went to sweatshirts. And literally now we have different fundraisers. The sky's the limit, really, on the things that we've been able to do. But it started with, we had a Cuts for a Cause, where we did free haircuts, donation only. We did tattoos for a cause.
So what do you mean? Like haircuts and tattoos?
Right.
What does that mean?
So the Cuts for a Cause, buddy of ours worked at this barbershop. Mm-hmm. They had just opened, and I just threw an idea like, hey, we should do like a fundraiser here and try to raise some money for the foundation, right? Mm-hmm. And they were like, okay, let's do it. Mm-hmm. So then I'm like, okay. So like my mind of commit first, figure it out later type thing, right? So like I had the idea, I threw it out. The first person grabbed onto it. So I'm like, okay, so now we got to figure out the next steps, right? So what we're going to do. So find barbers, find food, make flyers. If I looked, oh my God, on my timeline just popped up like a flyer from the first Cuts for a Cause. It looks like a 2-year-old baby.
And I will say this, like luckily, right, the community that we reached out to, the individual that we reached out to, were more than willing to be of assistance and help.
So they donate their time, their services, and then the person receiving the haircut or the tattoo donates the money.
That's right.
Not partial or all to the R.A.F. Foundation.
Like, yeah.
That, I think when we did Cuts for a Cause, it was 100%.
Yeah.
So 100% of whatever donations we were able to raise through the haircuts, they donated back to us. And might not seem like a lot, but like our first fundraiser, I think we raised like $600. Wow. But literally that $600 helped probably like 6 or 7 people.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
I mean, especially being in Maryland, so there's a lot of funding sources out.
Yeah.
So, like treatment with state insurance and stuff like that's not really costing people a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So the main thing for us here, like in our area, is getting into recovery homes and steps after, right? So a lot of our like scholarships are given to helping people get on their feet once they get out.
Yep.
So you guys were really bootstrapping, starting from, hey, how are you willing to help? Right? Haircuts. If I remember correctly, I know this was years ago. Percentage of eating out at a restaurant. Yep. Part of that was donated to
California Pizza Kitchen. California Pizza Kitchen, pizza with a purpose.
So you guys were willing to do anything and everything to get, hey, use some of this, percentage, if not all of it, donate it to a good cause of people getting treatment. So name some of the things that the donations went to. You've named a couple. Sober living. What are some of the...
travel to treatment, entrance costs, some deductibles. A lot of it really is getting people like just somewhere to sleep. The main thing is like for me, I couldn't go home, so like I needed to have somewhere to go.
Yeah.
And when the opportunity to go to a recovery house presented itself, right?
And I can't tell you how many times, as whether it was a case manager, therapist, aftercare coordinator, someone's willing to go after treatment to sober living, and they just don't have the money.
Yeah, man.
Or they don't have enough money, or family was able to give them X amount, and they're like, well, I just can't go.
Right, and that was another reason, because like being in a recovery community, you see the direct need, right? Like you're communicating, and you also have relationships with individuals that have that need, and they just need something. And with a lot of the programs out here in Anne Arundel County, like you were just saying, like sometimes somebody may not qualify, somebody may have already burnt too many bridges at a particular place, you know, and that funding source, those funds, that little bit of money, that couple of dollars could be a world of difference. You know what I mean?
And then the gratitude, right? Oh, that avenue of recovery doesn't close. Zal, I think about part of your Buddhist journey, some of your Buddhist principles, and when you were in that monastery walking for food. Are there any parallels in here?
Yeah, a lot. You know, what I was going to say is what you guys have shared so far is very inspiring. First of all, it's like having a dream and then seeing the dream come true. It's what I've heard from your story, but also basing it on your personal experience, especially the part about the willingness. I feel like for an addict, there's like a very short window for a willingness that, because, you know, in my own experience too, I would do something and then the universe lines up, even in the negative direction. I would use something and then something else comes up. But then when I do something good, like I have a desire to get help, but then if there's a barrier, the window is gone. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. Maybe the universe doesn't support it, but your premise is kind of bridging that gap, like meeting people who have the willingness, you know, at that window before it's too late. So it's really inspiring because I guess in recovery literature too, about when the motives are set in the right place, you know, everything is we're just backed up, you know. So that's what I'm hearing. Everything that comes through, you guys were supported. So that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. You guys have been a nonprofit foundation for how long now?
Since 2018. Yep.
2018. Yeah, I remember working in the treatment field, and I always would tell people, if you do what's best for your recovery, if you're willing to do what's best for your recovery, somehow it works out. It may not work out the way you want it to, but if you do what's best for your recovery, I promise you it'll work out.
That's right.
And there's some times where they had that, if you compare it to 12 steps, that willingness, that surrender, and then because they were willing, there may have been one or two times I had you guys in my back pocket. And I was like, They didn't think they'd have any chance to go to a sober living, but because they were willing, I know sometimes there's a resource available, so it's powerful.
Literally the whole plan, like, just to be available.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? So, like, the whole premise of it was, like, just in its simplest form, raise a ton of money and give it away.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, that's literally the premise.
Mm-hmm.
Raise money and help people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
In addition to money and helping with whether it's inpatient, outpatient, sober living, co-pays, things like that, you guys raise awareness.
Correct.
What are some ways that you guys have done that over the years? Because as creative as you guys got with literally giving people tattoos and donations to haircuts to, hey, percentage of pizza goes to, you got creative in that ways. You guys have gotten creative in terms of raising awareness. What are some of the ways you've done that over the years? Hey listeners, we've got something extraordinary to share, a chance to reshape your journey no matter where you are. You're familiar with Zalmal's insights on our podcast, but there's more. Through the Recovery Collective, he offers life, mindfulness, recovery coaching, and meditation groups guiding you toward a fulfilled and mindful existence, no matter your location. Zal's journey from a Burmese Buddhist novice to a skilled practitioner equips him with timeless wisdom and contemporary strategies. Whether you're navigating life's shifts, seeking clarity, or pursuing self-awareness, Zal's coaching serves as a compass guiding you toward success. The best part? Zal's approach centers on your growth and empowerment. He equips you with tools to tap into your inner strengths for continuous evolution no matter where you are. Ready to take that next step in your personal growth journey? Connect with Zalmal and the Recovery Collective at 240-813-8135 from anywhere in the world. Investigating in your journey reaps immeasurable rewards. Let Zalmal guide you toward resilience, clarity, and empowerment no matter where life finds you. Now, let's transition back into our conversation. Stay tuned, stay curious, and keep your journey growing.
We partnered with a group called Drug Free All Stars.
Mm-hmm.
And we have been...
You said Drug-Free All-Stars?
Drug-Free All-Stars.
You got to tell the people what that means.
So Drug-Free All-Stars is an organization that started in 1992.
Yeah.
1992. In the early 90s. That was just going around the country promoting drug prevention. So we linked up with them approximately 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And we have been putting on outreach, what do you call them, outreach celebrations.
Yeah.
Every year.
Just community events.
Community events.
Just different kind of community events just to get kids.
For example, what?
Parents. So,
what are some of the events? You almost call it a celebration. You don't correlate, most people don't correlate drug awareness, education, Just Say No, DARE program, right, to a drug-free celebration. What do you mean by that?
What I meant was we opened the doors to the community to come and participate. Celebrity softball games.
Okay.
I mean, not celebrity, but
hey, you're there.
We did the mayor. My guy. We did the mayor versus Drug Free All Star softball game when the mayor picked the team.
So you've got people in recovery on one team, and you've got people doing policies and representing everything that the mayor does on another team.
Yep.
Very
pretty
cool.
much, yeah.
Yep.
That seems like a celebration to
That's
me.
what I'm saying.
Okay.
And open the door for individuals in the community to just come get an abundance of resources from different organizations and entities in Anne Arundel County. And just celebrate, man. Food, fun.
That's cool.
We got a little sports clinics, soccer clinics, and all that stuff going on at DJ, and we go out there and we just have a good time.
I saw recently you guys connected with a soccer team.
Yeah, with partner with the Annapolis Blues.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you do there? You just raise awareness at the soccer games?
Yeah.
Yeah. Soccer is a huge community, and it's a community that is in every demographic, right? So when the Annapolis Blues came to Annapolis, basically our I don't know what you would call Gerard, but our
liaison.
So quick backstory, right? Gerard started Drug Free All Stars in the early 90s, right?
Gotcha.
And in the early 90s, they did all sorts of stuff, like we was talking about going across the country. They did as high as sponsoring the All-Star game at Camden Yards when it was here. Like Brooks Robinson and Eddie Murray were honorary Drug Free All Stars. Like we have like posters and all sorts of crazy stuff with them on it, articles. It was very, very impressive, and it was pretty cool to see that back then what he was able to do with those kind of resources.
And the stigma was at the highest level, right?
Like this is back in the Just Say No.
Yeah.
Like so, just to think of that, and now where we are now, with social media, with just
platforms,
just different platforms to be able to just get information to people. Like he literally had to drive across the country. Like literally had to drive across the country to promote it, right? And we could sit in chairs and talk about it, and it can get as far as we wanted to.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So when he brought that organization to us, and he was like, here, guys, this is what I did. Sort of gave us a roadmap on how to be successful in the prevention effort. We sort of just took it and ran with it, and he has some ideas, we've had some ideas, and sort of coming together to do it's called the Drug Education and Awareness Sporting Festival. A lot of words. But like these are all the different things that are taking place there, right? So you have treatment centers there, you have city resources there, you have health department, like you have a variety of different resources.
All aspects of health and wellness, right?
Correct, right? So we have all these aspects. We have a basketball clinic, we have a soccer clinic, we have the softball game, as we mentioned, free food. It's a free community event, right? So we want, the whole goal is to get as many kids there as possible and provide them with just information. So at the end of the day, the whole plan is opportunity presents itself to a kid, and the kid just has a little bit of information, and he makes the decision not to, right? In itself, Drug Free All Stars is a complete success.
Yep.
Like, because the whole goal is just to give the information so that they know, instead of the, well, I don't know, let me try aspect, or I don't know, so never heard about it, so what's the worst that could happen, right? That was a big thing with Drug Free All Stars, and like the goal would eventually be to, like my brain works one way, like, so the goal would be to like be able to implement like a prevention aspect into like the education world. Like I'm a product of DARE. Only thing I remember about DARE is the t-shirt.
Yep.
Like, you know what I
I
mean?
don't even remember the acronym.
Like, you know what I mean? I don't even know what it means.
I know there's dots.
I just remember the t-shirt, right?
Yeah.
And I think that at this day and age, it's real. It's affecting everybody. The degree of separation is small. It used to be my neighbor's kid's son's boyfriend or girlfriend. They're doing whatever, right? Now it's my kid. Like the degree of separation is so small now. You can bring it up in conversation, and it's not a, like the, what's it, the something of bacon. Like the 12.
It's 7 degrees, 5 degrees, whatever it is.
Of Kevin Bacon, right?
Yeah.
It's literally like, it's one of those like scenarios where it's just, it's there.
It's my kid or my sister or my aunt and my neighbor.
Or my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just gotta, it's something that needs to be talked about. And it's sort of, they're getting to the point where, people are getting to the point where they're comfortable having the conversation. But there's still a lot of the, well, not my kid. I mean, listen, I did not grow up in a bad neighborhood. I did not come from a broken home. Had everything I ever needed, went to private school, and I still ended up here. You know what I mean? So it's not, it doesn't care about any of that. The goal is just to educate kids of the dangers of what drug use and substance use can do to you. And just so you have that information. At the end of the day, the decision's always going to be theirs. But if they have that information, maybe they might decide not to.
Yeah, and if we can prevent, there's no need for a child to have to recover. You know what I mean? At one of the establishments I worked, I used to work on the adolescent unit, and I would see those young individuals that would come in there struggling and hurting. Thank goodness, man. Thank goodness for that, for the ability to be able to provide something to the community. I don't know, like Truxton, Pitt Moyer Center, right? Pitt Moyer Center is the base.
In Annapolis here.
Yeah. We provide a lot of information there.
And I think that's one of the things. You're not just education and awareness. Part of the prevention is, hey, we're having a softball game, a baseball game.
Yeah.
We're having fun and not using, and we're in the community and we're in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Where it's us. You guys are mentors, but it's also like all-stars, right? I mean, it's the mayor is playing too. We're not in denial of this, and we can enjoy life without this, and that's example of prevention. You know?
Yeah, I want to go back to what Newton said earlier, which has been on my mind about your mission statement. I don't know if I'm remembering it correctly, about something about giving people a chance to change their lives. And in the spirit of the Recovery Awareness Month, I mean, change is a very powerful concept because I was stuck in addiction. People are stuck in addiction because they don't believe that change is possible. So I like that idea a lot. Yeah, I want to hear from you guys about, from your experience with this foundation, but also like a message to people out there who think that there's no change is possible. Yeah, I just want to focus our attention on that a little bit, about the idea of change. Because recovery is all about change, and growth.
Change is definitely possible. And when you were saying that, I think about a passage in the basic text, right? And it talks about what recovery is. And it says that recovery is an active change of ideas, attitudes, and behaviors. For me personally, all of those things had to change. All of those things had to change. And how I learned to change them was connecting with other people that were also making that change, had already made those changes. I needed to learn, right? I needed to learn that a lot of the stuff that I was feeling was normal, was a big thing for me, that I didn't have to be afraid of what I was feeling, that the direction that I wanted to go in my life was possible for me to go. It led me to Recovery Awareness Foundation and led me here to this chair. There's an individual out there that is struggling and suffering from the disease of addiction. There are many avenues and many resources that you can utilize that can help you, many people that can guide you. You just got to be willing to be honest.
Everything that you guys have mentioned, all the activities, that is very empowering because like you were talking about, like I want to believe in change, but if I'm just doing it by myself, the world is a very scary place and I don't want to interact with people. But if there is like a way to relate, and you talk about that too, like ability to connect with other people, when that is done, it's not me anymore, Right. It's about the group of the power of the group. And that's very, very inspiring. And yeah, life in recovery should be that way. Otherwise I'm just sober and dry and depressed, Right. But if there are activities that you guys were doing, so many things that connect people with each other, then we're like, life is meaningful and moving forward. But
I was going to say, I think another thing that we try to do is we try to do that with no judgment and condemnation. Individuals are in recovery when they say they are, so there's no, judgment, right? Like, just like there is a sense of intimacy and vulnerability when we're having these conversations, sense of relatability. And with all of those things, right, trust is built. And when you can build trust with an individual, they are more likely to listen and be open to the suggestions or the help that you may be able to, like personally, you may be able to give them.
I think that's one reason why you guys are still living your vision and mission. Yes, you guys have the advocacy, which is such a powerful tool for change, the advocacy. But you guys have this peer support element to this whole nonprofit that you guys give your experiences. The power is in our experiences. It's not just giving them awareness. You get to connect to these people. You know what it's like to be right where they were at, whether it's treatment for the 15th time, 5th time, 1st time, whatever it is. That peer support connection is powerful. And I've always said I've always been able to do what I do, yes, professionally, is because being able to help one person, and that person helps another person, another person, another person. Hey, man, I'm good. I'm golden. If I can potentially help one person help themselves, I'm good, man. I don't need to change a stadium, if you will, to feel like I need to make change.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys can do that in the peer support level, or at a Not My Child event that we see around here, or an all-star game, you name it, that you guys have touched every element of change and advocacy, which is just cool.
Yeah, as you guys already know, addiction is all about putting walls around me and blocking everything and in isolation. But recovery is all about putting those walls down. And that's also more possible when there is like a lifeness going on, because I think about people differently now, but I used to be so afraid of people.
Yeah.
But now, like, I love people because I can get the information about recovery, how to stay sober, stuff like that. But it doesn't mean anything unless I see it in people.
Yeah.
So like you guys are keeping it alive with the awareness, but like in action by activities and just showing up. And there's something very, very real about human connection, right? Like when somebody is sober and somebody who has been through what I'm going through, when you connect with that person, like something's communicated. You don't even have to say anything, right? There's that deep connection. And then that really helps put those walls down for somebody who's struggling. That, oh yeah, this person looks like he knows what I'm feeling, you know? And then change becomes a little more possible.
I'm going to ask this question. You guys have been doing this for a lot of years, putting in a lot of work, a lot of free time and work. Why do you guys still do this?
Service. When I finally made a decision, you all were talking about that willingness in the beginning, right? And like when my willingness and my desire to do something different aligned, right, I started doing that. I got around some individuals that would teach me how to do that, and I started this process, and I struggled. And then you went to this process. I entered this process, and I'm learning all of these things, right? And then I get to the end of one of these processes, right? And I realize that it's all about service. It's all about me giving of myself what I have learned to other people around me. And like in my community, man, like it's so important that individuals will maneuver in those dark places to try to connect with some individuals, man, because like I drive past a spot every day, right? And it's a young lady that sits on the street out here. And I talk to her almost every day. And I just ask her, just like, you ready? Just talking to her out the window. You ready? No, not yet. You ready? Me personally, I don't know of any other individual that's trying to like communicate with that person, right? And just let them know that somebody is here.
The hand's there.
They have my number. I've gotten out the car and stood there. And I'm not saying that to like say like, oh, I'm doing all of this in the community, but somebody has to. And I'm not afraid to do that. And Recovery Awareness Foundation and Drug Free All-Stars is just another way, another avenue that we can do that for this community. Because I got to give it away to keep it, right? And I have been given so much. I have been given so much. And I will never forget that.
Well, Newton, same question. All the sweat equity, why do you keep doing it?
That doesn't even feel like, I don't know, it's just it's like what we signed up for. Like, I don't know. I don't think of it as any kind of inconvenience. I don't think of it in any like I don't want someone to have to deal with what I dealt with. It was like we wanted to create something that would eliminate someone that's asking for help not getting it. Mm-hmm. I was willing to make a bunch of phone calls. Someone else might not be that willing. Mm-hmm. Right? It's crazy. Like now, I mean, since we've been doing it for a few years now, like, I don't know. I don't bring it up. Like, I don't bring it up. People will bring it up and be like, like, hey, he does R.A.F. or he does Recovery Awareness Foundation. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's not. Actually, I have a story, right? So I don't remember who it was, but I ran into someone, and I had on a R.A.F. shirt, and they just walked up to me like, oh my God, like those guys, that group, like they helped me get into a spot. Like I was trying to get into a place out of treatment, and they helped me get into a spot. I was like, that's awesome. Just had a regular conversation with another recovered addict, just about. I was like, that's awesome. So what are you gonna do now? So like it's almost like the premise of just try to help somebody and don't get caught.
I love it.
Like, you know what I mean? Just try to help somebody and don't get caught doing it.
Yeah.
Right?
Pure
like
selflessness. Yeah.
just out the way.
Yeah.
Like when we were in the beginning, when we were given scholarships, we would always like just post a picture on social media of us giving a scholarship. And people used to be like, oh, that's who you helped? Absolutely not. That is the person that directs wherever we are helping.
Yeah.
Like
They're the next conduit to help the person.
it's the house manager or the director of the facility that we're helping them through, right? Because obviously there's channels where the funds have to go to make sure the funds are applied where they need to be applied, right? So like our like the main thing is just if we can help, we will help.
It's so neat that the impact.
Like, it's really
the impact goes beyond the individual. It affects the family. It affects the community. It affects. It just keeps going.
As both of you are answering Luke's question, it makes me think about the concept of the idea of lifting of the spirit. That's also how I feel when I help other people. That because our spirit are always like going through motions, right? There are some times when my spirit the flame is almost dying, you know? Mm-hmm. But then when you connect with people that you have helped or that you mean something, the spirit is lifted up. And we live for those moments when things get tough, you know? And I have a friend in recovery. He was like almost dying of a terminal illness, and he was in the hospital, and his wife has already made an announcement on social media that this is the time, come say goodbye. Mm. And then I had a breakfast with this individual a couple of weeks ago, and he was telling me that story again, that he thought he was dying, but then a good friend of his, who's been in recovery with him for a long time, came and said hi to him. But like when he came in, he just saw him in these eyes and his spirit lifted up. And that's exactly the words that he used, that his spirit lifted up. Mm-hmm. And he's alive today, you know? Mm-hmm. It's just so crazy. Again, like these are like unseen things. Like we cannot really see it, but like we can feel it. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm hearing from your answer too, that you keep doing this because it lifts your spirit up.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Thank you guys for joining us. Is there anything that maybe we haven't touched on that you guys want to mention?
I have to mention two things.
Give it to us.
The 30th of this month is, I believe, I guess you could call it the fifth annual, because I think we lost 2 years with COVID,
yes,
right?
The fifth, yes.
Lost 2 years with COVID, so we couldn't do it. So we're having the, I guess, third annual Tattoos for a Cause over in Centerville at Ink Dye Studio. And that's actually going to be a pretty huge event over on that side of the bridge. Yeah. They're basically shutting down downtown Centerville.
Wow.
Have, I think so far, almost like 30 or 40 vendors, 3 live bands, DJ, obviously there'll be tattoos, a bunch of guest artists. So that's going to be a good time. That's another free event. And then we have the Drug Education and Awareness Festival on October 14th at Pit Moyer right here in Annapolis. That's another free community event where we'll have food, music, celebrity softball games, soccer clinic, basketball clinic. Annapolis Blues will be out there doing a clinic.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's really it.
And we'll be sure to put all that into the notes of this and YouTube as well as the podcast platform that you're listening on. We'll put all this in the notes.
Well, we appreciate it.
If someone wants to donate directly to Recovery Awareness Foundation, how do they do so?
I would say the easiest way would be just through Facebook, our Facebook page, or our website. Okay. Website's probably the easiest. So it's just recoveryawarenessfoundation.org. And there'll be get help, give help.
Get help, give help. Mm-hmm. And we'll put that in the episode notes too. And if you want it even easier, we've got a donate button on our podcast. If you donate on this episode that you're listening to, it'll say literally donate or support the podcast. Not only will we give it, we might even just match it. So donate, guys. Donate. Yeah. Anything we'll do, we'll match. Unless you guys are really donating, then we might cap it. But hey, just
we appreciate the support.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I do have one concluding question for both Sam and Newton, for myself, but also for the listeners too, because you guys are very busy and stay very active. And I don't know if it's your experience too. Sometimes I get people out, like being with people is great, lifts my spirit up, but also there are times where I get so wiped out. Mm-hmm. So are there things that helps you decompress, or what do you guys do to fuel it back? Are there things that help you guys unwind? Or do you guys deal with like burnout or anything?
Me,
you're always moving.
I'm always moving, right? Physical activity is very good for me. I box, I meditate. Every time I can, I spend time with my family. You know what I mean? They're my glue. You know what I mean? Like they, they're my glue. So, I mean, though I think for me, like a lot of physical activity and staying in contact with individuals that know me, that are not afraid to hurt my feelings and be honest with me, is very important, right? Because I consider myself as somebody that's like hypersensitive, right? So, like, sometimes I definitely need somebody to just be honest with me and hold me accountable. You know what I mean? Knowing luckily, I have people that are willing to do that, So physical activity, just trying my best to stay in the groove of my own like personal recovery. You?
So I have a 1-year-old. Right? She just turned 1, and like anytime I'm with her, everything's good. Like everything's good. Like anything that's bad that's going on, or anything that is, it all just goes away. Yeah. Like it's not even I don't know. Like I could be having the worst week or the worst few days, and then that just makes it all better. Like it's not. It literally just will just show me like it's not, nothing's as bad as it seems.
Yeah,
it'll all be okay.
Don't confuse tired eyes with eyes of bliss. They look similar, but
she's cool. Like she's a good baby. She just hangs out, and it's like unconditional love, man. Like she doesn't. It is
isn't it?
It's fantastic.
Great teachers, aren't they?
Yeah, and then I play softball a few nights a week, and that's really it. Play softball, have my daughter, and then like I'm usually at work quite a bit, so usually the days off is when try to get some foundation stuff in. We have some things that we need to drop off or stuff like that. Try to get that stuff done, and it's all good, man. 80% of my day could be trash, but that 20%, like if I just come home and just relax and get back in the remember when, it's not that bad.
That's right. An attitude of gratitude, baby.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not that bad. I've had bad days that are bad days. Right? right? Like a bad day at a job that I've been able to hold that I have retirement in, and I like, you know what I mean? Like luxury problems. We gotta just remember, just like, if I didn't get clean, literally none of this would be possible. Like there's not even a little gray area. I know for a fact I would have nothing that I have right now if I didn't change the way I was living.
It's a beautiful perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you. That's a really good message. And I love that message, because what I'm hearing is that we want to live a life that is worth living for, and we can make it that way. You know, I think that's a really good message for this month as well, because when I was deep in my addiction, that I didn't feel that way. You know, it's not worth it, but it is worth it. You know,
Yes, it is, man.
No matter where you are. So, yeah, I really appreciate this conversation, and really appreciate what you guys do for the community.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for kicking us off this month. And my perspective is, you guys aren't recovery work. You're Recovery Action Foundation. You guys are doing things. So thank you guys for doing that.
We appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
As we draw this episode to a close, the essence of Recovery Awareness Month radiates like a beacon of hope, guided by the dedicated leadership of Newton and Sam. The Recovery Awareness or Action Foundation paves a path of hope, light, transformation for individuals and communities navigating the intricate terrain of recovery. In the weeks ahead, we continue our journey of illumination as we delve into part 2 of this series, National Suicide Prevention Week next week. Just as Recovery Awareness Month unites us in celebrating resilience, the upcoming week serves as a powerful reminder of our shared responsibility to be there for one another, even in the darkest of moments. Let's remember that every voice matters, every act of compassion counts, and together we can bring about transformation and change. Stay tuned for another episode that explores the power of unity, empathy, and reaching out as a helping hand. Thank you for being part of the collective mission for health, understanding, and renewal. My name is Luke Du Bois.
So, thank you all for listening.
See you next week. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.